It is very likely that in the past few days you have used a product or a service, whether it's a smartphone or you ate noodles or you purchased a data subscription plan. It may be the chair you are currently sitting on or a building you may have stayed in, whether made of wood or cement. Virtually every human being alive depends on a product or service to improve the quality of their life. Clothes, shelter, education. We all need these products or services to live. But life is not all about business. Individuals also engage in non-business activities. Two or more people may come together for corporate worship, or for the maintenance or celebration of their culture, or for the purpose of helping the poor. How then does the law regulate these business and non-business activities? When you eventually get called to the bar, an auntie or maybe an uncle may approach you and tell you that she or he has some money, say 10 million naira, which they want to utilize for business, and they need some form of business structure protected by law or with some right and obligation on that law with which they would operate with. Or they want to use, or he or she wants to use the 10 million naira for charity, and they need some form of business or some form of legal structure rather to carry on their charitable activities. How do you advise them? Your knowledge of corporate law practice will ensure that you are not stranded in the face of such inquiry. Hence, you should know early on that this course is not in any way abstract. Corporate law has implications for our day-to-day livings. While studying corporate law practice, you will discover that there are many rules and procedures that you would have to come to understand. Why are there so many rules, you may ask yourself? It's good you understand now, and this illustration will throw light to that. So you have a friend who is in need of 1,000 naira to feed for the next 2 days, and the friend approaches you. If you have the money and are willing to give, it is very unlikely that you would formalize such procedure. You probably just dip your hands into your purse or your bag or your pocket, bring out the money and give the person. Now, think again. Imagine you have 10 million naira lying in your bank account, because such money would probably not be in a bag, a pocket, or in a purse. It would probably be in your bank account. You have someone approach you that they need, say, 10 million naira to do business, either as a way of investment or as a loan. Investment meaning that you get some form of returns if the business goes well, or a loan in the sense that if they're able to get the money back, or they're able to make some profit, they'll pay you back the money at a particular period of time. Now, it is very unlikely that you would just initiate a transfer to the account of the person needing the money. You'd want some guarantees. You want some form of procedure. What happens if I lose the 10 million naira? How do I get my money back? How am I going to be protected? What happens? How am I sure that you are not just going to take this money and relocate out of Nigeria? There will be many questions, and you would want safeguards. This is the reason for corporate law practice. Every day in Nigeria and in countries all around the world, billions of naira and dollars and other currencies leave the hands or the accounts of people into the accounts of others in the name of business and non-business activities. Business thrives on trust, and corporate law gives businesses and non-business organizations a form of trust, a form of security, a form of regulation to ensure that people are not swindled of their money. There is order, and many more reasons. Hence the need for corporate law practice. So you must see corporate law practice as very practical to your day-to-day living. Corporate law, while studying corporate law, you would come across over a dozen topics stretched across the 20 weeks of lectures you have at the law school. Now, here's the key. Every topic that will be considered is linked. The topics are not alien from each other. It is even more interesting because the company is the major entity you will learn about in this course. And like those of you who studied company law at undergraduate level will have been taught, A company, when registered, has the right of a natural person. A company is a juristic person. Most of the topics under this course, corporate law practice, consider various aspects of a company, and these are aspects that are similar to what obtains with a natural person, a human being. First, every human being is born into some form of legal regime. International laws, national laws, state laws, and other regulations. The same thing for companies and all other business and non-business entities rather. They are controlled by a legal regime and by numerous regulatory entities. So every company that is born today is born into some form of legal regime. Hence, that's the first topic you'll be considering under corporate law practice, an overview of the legal framework for business and non-business activities in Nigeria. For the second topic, trying to compare that to what obtains with natural persons, you'll notice that natural persons are distinguished according to several factors and features. Tribe, culture, language, gender, social class. Same for business and non-business organizations. It is important that you know the various types of business and non-business organizations that are out there. Hence, you'll be able to advise your client properly in the near future when they approach you after you have been called to the bar and they approach you for legal counsel. You want to be able to know when to advise your client to set up an incorporated trustee, or to set up a company, or to register a business name. Corporate law will give you that knowledge. The next topic will be formation and registration of business and non-business organizations. Still comparing that to the rights and characteristics of a natural person, it is very likely that you were asked to submit your birth certificate for your law school registration, or you were asked about your nationality. Every child born in Nigeria who qualifies as a Nigerian citizen will need a certificate from the National Population Commission. So also for business and non-business organizations. Many of them, like companies, incorporated trustees, etc., only enjoy legal protection under law when they have been formed and registered in accordance with the law. This is where a lot of lawyers make money, by the way, from the registration of companies, incorporated trustees, and other entities. So you want to pay attention. Under this third topic, you learn the steps a lawyer will take in assisting any individual or body that plans to set up a business or non-business organization. Next, people are born into this world by the action of their parents. Companies are born by the actions of the promoters. Under the fourth topic, you will learn about promoters, their roles, their duties, their liabilities, the remedies where they have breached their duties. You will also learn about pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts are like prenuptial agreements that couples sign before they get married. Two individuals may come together and set up a company, and they want to enter an agreement before they set up that company to outline what their individual rights and interests will be. It may be a company and an individual deciding to set up a new company. It may be two individuals wanting to set up a new company. It may be two companies wanting to set up a new company. A pre-incorporation contract is the kind of contract they usually enter into before such companies are formed. A pre-incorporation contract may also be between a promoter and a third party in relation to services to be rendered before or after the company is set up. So, corporate law is very practical. These are everyday activities. Next, you will get to learn about how to prepare documents for the formation of business and non-business organizations. How do you prepare a memorandum of association or an article of association? How do you prepare the constitution of an incorporated trustee? This topic is important to let you know how you may properly guide your client after you have been called to the bar. No man in society is an island, and no one can live on their own, whether it's an individual or a company or a country or a region. Same way with companies. Companies cannot live on their own, and even Nigerian companies may not be able to just sustain business if they were to do business with fellow Nigerian companies. Hence the importance of the topic, foreign participation in business. If you have ever used a product of Nestle, Unilever, if you have an MTN line or you call an MTN line, these companies are all byproducts of the involvement of foreigners in Nigerian business. This topic is very, very important and practical because every year, billions of dollars are invested into Nigeria as foreign investment. So you would want to take note of this topic. Also, it's important that you know that a lot of the major firms, law firms in Nigeria, this is where they specialize in corporate commercial, helping foreigners who are interested in coming into Nigeria to set up a business. So you want to pay good attention to corporate law practice and particularly foreign participation in business. Eventually, you also learn about post-incorporation matters. If after a company has been born, what next? What could happen? After an individual has been born, what could happen? A lot, you say. A lot could happen. There's education. There are laws guiding the life of a baby after they have been born. They have rights. The Child Rights Act. A child is supposed to enjoy compulsory primary education and things like that. The same way with a company. There are changes that may happen after a company has been formed. There are activities, there are obligations a company now has immediately it has been formed. There are procedures the law has laid down for newly formed companies to undertake. You learn about post-incorporation matters. And you also learn about certain restructuring options that may be available to a company. When I mean restructuring now, I don't mean the kind of restructuring you will learn about shortly. I mean conversion of a company, say from a private company to a public company, or conversion of a company from an unlimited company to a limited company. You learn about these under post-incorporation matters. Next will be corporate governance. Corporate governance is one of the major topics in corporate law practice. Self-governance of natural persons is key to attaining any level of success. Self-governance is also key to avoiding controversies and temptations. Corporate governance works the same way with companies. How does the law provide that companies be governed? In the first place, for whose interests do companies operate? What are the roles, duties, and liabilities of directors? Must every company have a secretary? How do we differentiate the roles and duties of directors and members? That is, the shareholders for companies that have share capital. How does the law mandate that directors report the company's financial dealings? Also, by what rule do companies operate, consensus or majority rule? If majority have their way, how may the minority have their say? These and many more you will learn under corporate governance. And it's very important that, like we said earlier, you address corporate law practice like an investor. How would you want your company, assuming you have 100 million naira somewhere that your late uncle gave you just before he died, and you're at the law school now, so you set up a company immediately after you graduated from the university before coming to the law school, and the company is running. So Mr. Jide is the managing director of the company. What procedures have the law put in place to ensure that you, as a shareholder, your rights are not subjugated, you are not defrauded? What are the procedures the law have put in place? So understand that it is best to understand corporate law practice as a big investor who has money, who has something to lose. When you understand corporate law practice, it's like playing Monopoly. Yes, Monopoly might be a game, but you understand that there's something to lose, at least for the game purpose. Address corporate law the same way. Understand corporate law practice from the perspective of an investor who has billions to lose. You would see that corporate law is not as abstract as some persons may have told you. It is very practical. It is very practical. But the mindset with which you approach it will affect a lot of things. Now, also, natural persons need money or some other form of capital to meet their basic needs, and other not so basic needs. That is the same way companies need money to thrive. Generally, companies raise money by way of equity or debt. Equity essentially means shares. While looking at the topic, company securities, you would get to understand shares and debentures. You will also get to understand the capital market and how companies may raise money from the capital market, whether at a stock exchange or other trading point. Next will be restructuring. Restructuring is an integral part of human life, whether it is for personal or group considerations. Companies restructure too, and this restructuring may be internal or external. Etisalat was faced with a debt crisis and needed to be restructured to continue business. Diamond Bank's restructuring saw its merger with Access Bank. You will learn about these under the topic corporate restructuring, which is broken into two parts, internal and external restructuring. Now, the same way conflicts and disputes come up between natural persons, the same way corporate entities and those involved with them may get embroiled in disputes. Company proceedings and investment dispute resolution will teach you about proceedings involving companies. how they may be commenced, alternative dispute resolution options, service of processes, among other matters. The course will be concluded with the topic discussed, the final topic. As all living things are born, they also die at some point. Winding up and dissolution of business and non-business organizations. In what circumstances may companies be wound up? What procedure must be followed when companies are being wound up? These and many more you will learn about concerning companies and other entities, how they may be brought to an end. As you can see, corporate law practice promises to be a very interesting topic, and we invite you to stay tuned as we'll unveil topic 1 tutorial to you shortly. Remember, you have only one shot at this.